That rear end will take 2,000 horsepower.
Is that a promise?
That is a promise, and you can take us to court. And then you have to put that legal disclaimer underneath. Do not take us to court. We have no money. It's better to be understated than overrated. It's a good way to build your car. You can't get mocked, you can't get made fun of. You build it for yourself, it's respectable.
Almost 3 months ago, we bought this 5-speed 08 Mustang GT for $12,000. Tom and Erick invested a little over $3,000 and quite a bit of time into fixing up and improving the S197. Now, after refurbishing the interior, removing exterior blemishes, as well as smoothing out and improving the ride quality, these two drivetrain mechanics reflect back on the process.
You're not building a perfect car, a show car. You're building a car that drives. And I think that's what we want to do.
Building show cars is miserable. If you're building a show car, you probably have huge budget, liquid money that you can roll into it. You get done with it, you can drive it, but you get a little minor scratch or a bird poops on it or somebody leans on it, your life is over. You can't enjoy it. You're uptight the entire time. But you build it to be respectable, but it doesn't have to be perfect. You can just enjoy the car and relax.
I think that's the key, is building a car that you want to enjoy for yourself, that you can drive every day or you can drive on the weekends. And I think that's what we achieved with this car. It's fun to drive.
It's a 3-foot car.
A 3-foot car.
It looks good from 3 foot and more. It's going to have imperfections. There's no major flaws with it. It's ready to be upgraded or improved if somebody decides they want to do it. Some of these things that we're doing on there, it's stuff that we've never done. Doing the attempt on the wraps on the hood and the roof, that's brand new, Ooh, this actually
looks better.
That looks better.
Yeah.
And over time, if you do something like that, you're going to develop those skills pretty quick. But you don't have to be a pro.
We showed how you can do it yourself. Most of the stuff is it's something that you can learn. It's something you could do in your own garage, in your own front yard. It's something you could do over time.
Yeah, that was my line.
Sorry.
When we came up with the concept of this series, I wanted to do it as realistically as possible. We're looking at what everybody else does, and they're touting how they're putting 50 grand into something.
So what's our budget for the interior?
We have an unlimited budget. We can spend $5 million in this car.
Can we?
We can spend $5 million, and we'll sell it for at least $20,000. So we'll only net loss $480,000, $470,000.
No, you said $5 million.
$465,000.
$4,980,000.
Most people can't do that. You should be looking at what you can achieve. What can people achieve? And I was like, well, between either tax returns, that was my idea. That was your idea.
Yeah, that was my idea.
Somebody's tax returns, or maybe they have a credit card or something like that, and they want to make their vehicle better or worth more money. I tried to treat this like it was my own money. What would I do if I only had $3,000 to make this car handle better, drive better, stop better, corner better, a little bit faster and fun to drive? It forced us to spend every dollar as if it was coming out of our pocket.
I think if I was going to keep this car, I would probably change the tires. Chipping the wheels everywhere you go, not even just backing down the driveway.
Pretty sure Eric went the wheel and tire here. He's not a good backer-upper.
You're on the curb. On my rim? Yeah.
It became a recurring problem. You come out of a driveway, you may have just enough flex that it chips the wheel. It just needs a little bit bigger tire on it. I think it would look cleaner. It would help protect the wheels. We have enough room in the wheel wells, and it'll also help the stance it looks like with it lowered. I think it's a common issue of people not test fitting a wheel and tire combo, which we know it does fit, but it also could fit a much larger tire in there.
Anytime you buy wheels and tires, especially the tires, you want to go absolutely as wide as you can physically fit on that vehicle. If you're going to spend $2,000 on wheels and tires, why not spend $2,100?
Yeah.
And get every millimeter of width that you can on there. That's traction. That's your footprint. That's cornering. That's acceleration. That's braking. Helps triangulate the edge of the wheel a little bit more for cornering stability. How hard you can throttle out of a corner.
Correct.
The bigger you can get that tire, you can come around a corner and you can just stay on the gas, and even if you brake traction slightly, there's enough grip there that's still trying to hold it without looping it. You know, on this with 275s, I think some of that balance is gone.
Would there be anything else you would change on it if it was your daily driver?
You know, number one would be paint. Doesn't look like it got hit. Doesn't look like it had major damage. There's little chips here and there. The bumpers had the cracking from the bumps that they had on them. We got those repainted. Those look good. It's disappointing that somewhere recently in that car's life, they repainted the back shell on that car, but they didn't paint the roof.
The roof?
Or the hood.
Yeah.
You paint the whole car, but not the roof or the hood.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't make sense. You know, you had kind of factory sun-faded, purpley hued red on the roof and the hood. And then you had this brilliant deep red paint on the rest of the car. It's also the proper fix to, you know, the little bit of hail damage and stuff that's on there. Got it much, much better than it was. But at the end of the day, really, we had to go with that matte black.
Yeah.
So it didn't show off the little ripples and the reflection. Interior-wise, door panels look good.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's hard to adhere smooth plastic to fuzzy felt.
Yes.
There's only so much adhesive that you can put in there. And, you know, the uppers shells are holding for now. The lowers, you can still see a little bit of separation and gap out of there.
It goes back to perfection compared to drivability. Right now, we can open the doors and not be embarrassed. You know, we first got the car, you open the doors and it was this fuzzy, glued looking material that whatever Ford put on it peeled itself right off. And that seems to be a common problem in this generation.
It's a 90% fix.
No, yeah, I'll agree with 90% fix.
90% is that it looks good, it covered, it did its job. It's just the 10% of, is it absolutely permanent? It's probably going to need some more adhesive down the road. We finished this car and we tried not to put too much into it that somebody else can't buy it and customize it to their own liking. The bones are there, even the rear end work that we did, it's ready to accept a lot of power. It's ready to accept a lot of abuse, and it's going to hang together and you don't have to worry about twisting axles or breaking cases. Everything in there is actually good. The axles end up being surprisingly, I guess I've never paid attention to, you know, the aftermarket alloys versus the factory. The factory is really light, and those the alloy axles are very, very, very heavy. You can tell they're dense and less flex. That's less chattering in the rear end when you launch.
Yep.
We built the car so that now somebody can come and put a ton of power in front of it.
Most people, they start with the front end, they start with the engine, or they start putting 5, 6, 7 crazy amount of power up front. Last thing they do is the rear end, and that's usually the first thing that goes.
That's a good theory. Anybody who's building for horsepower, build it from the rear end forward.
No, that's a good theory.
Even in the polyurethane and different types of bushings over the factory rubber, you could have brand new factory rubber. You're going to get wheel hop.
And flex.
And flex, and in the axles and everything. Build your rear end, build it through the drive shaft, build it into the transmission, into the clutch. And if you do that prep work ahead of time, it's worth every bit of dollar and not having catastrophic failure when you put the real horsepower.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The car was built to be well-rounded and as a blank canvas for whatever somebody wants to do. If they want to drive to church, they can do it. If they want to go down to the racetrack and beat on it, they can do it. That's worth something. I think it would be undervalued at $22,000.
I think so too.
We should just give it away at $22,000.
The blood, sweat, and tears we put in it.
Literal blood.
Yeah, a lot of blood. And
we hid the blood. You'll have to find it.
Exactly. Somewhere in the car.
Sweat and tears, we kind of left that in the obvious place. We are so over this car now. I love the car.
Yep.
But
it's time
just,
to go.
It's time to go. It's just like when your kids get old enough, they think,
Get
the hell out of the house.
Get out.
Time for some new blood to come in. We're going to raise some new kids. We're going to adopt another one, 11 to 14. Do stuff on it that we think that people could do on their own in their own garage, in their own driveway. You don't have to be a trained mechanic with certifications and everything to do cool stuff. That's what we want to do in this series. We want people to be enabled to be cool.
Are you ready to drive this Mustang? Coinciding with the release of this video is the listing of this 08 Mustang GT. We're starting the listing price at $22,000. So if you're interested in driving off with some refreshed American muscle reinforced to handle a challenge, DM us or give us a call. We say goodbye to the 5-speed, and we'll start new side projects as we hunt for the next Mustang for this series. Up next on the roster, the 6-speed S197. We hope to see the Mustang series, and you, return soon. Until next time.
But we love this car. We really love it.
All right, get out of here, guys.
Are we done?
Yeah.